Hey everybody, welcome to TV Chef Fantasy League and the final episode for MasterChef Generations. I'm your host, Commissioner Mike Cablon. Joining me remotely are Sierra Kato and Iffy Wadiway. You guys, we made it. We're here at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, what a finale.
Let's have a toast
Oh,
to
gross.
our
So if you're not watching on YouTube and you're just listening, Iffy is toasting us with an Oreo flavored Coca-Cola, which I have tried. It's terrible. We also went into the office and tried the Coca-Cola flavored Oreo, also terrible.
Out now in stores.
Yeah. Run to your local Target.
Oh, you have
Before-
They're at
both.
Target?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Run
he's
to
got
your
both.
yeah.
Have you tried dipping the Oreo into the Coke?
No, because I just had it with coffee and that wasn't great. So I'm just going to assume the same thing applies to the
Okay, all
Coke
right.
situation.
Well, it'll have to happen at some point.
I really like all of the like weird stoner who they let out every like 5-10 years at the Coca-Cola office to come up with an idea. Like I was a big Coca-Cola Black guy, you know.
What was
that
the
makes
flavoring
sense.
on Coca-Cola Black?
Oh, it was just
That's
Coca-Cola with coffee.
Mhm.
Oh, right.
That
Yeah.
feels like a good combo, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would drink that at the beginning of high school. And at the time, remember, undiagnosed ADHD,
Oh,
just
man.
coming in charged up. I mean, maybe I needed that actually.
No,
I think I needed the stimulants.
I'm not a teacher, and I already like my butthole is tightening at the prospect of teaching you. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, gosh.
That's a lot of energy for a teenager to have. It's like coffee on ADHD.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, great. Okay, we're all here. We made it. Mere minutes ago, we finished an interview with Kame, the finalist of MasterChef, and that is going to go up as bonus content. So if you want to listen to that interview, you can head to maximumfun.org/join. That's where you can support us for $5 or more per month. We would really appreciate it. And you get access to all kinds of cool stuff like that exclusive interview with Kame. We're all riding high because it literally just wrapped and we rolled right into recording this. What did you guys think of that interview?
Yeah.
Really amazing. She brought all the info, and I think also it was just wonderful to kind of see the full human, yeah.
Well, great.
Yeah.
Okay, before we talk about the finale, a little bit of follow-up. We had talked last week about how no one has made the jump from MasterChef to Top Chef. And then we got a message from one of our listeners with a correction. This was sent directly to you because they're a fan of you. Do you have this text pulled up or shall I read it?
Oh, you can read it because I don't have it pulled up right away.
Okay, here we go. Hi, Iffy. I was listening to this week's TV Chef Fantasy League, and even if I'm not the first person to point this out, I had to give it a shot. Actually, the winner of MasterChef Season 3, Christine Ha, is now a professional chef. She owns the restaurant The Blind Goat in Houston, which was a semi-finalist for the James Beard Award for Best New Restaurant in America in 2020. She hasn't been a Top Chef contestant, but she was a guest judge on Top Chef Season 19, Houston, for their Asian Night Market episode. That is from our listener, Lauren. Lauren, thank you so much for the correction. I can't believe I forgot about this. Of course. I remembered seeing her come on as a judge, and it didn't click for me. She was such an early MasterChef winner that I don't think of her as a MasterChef winner because she's like a legitimate chef winning awards and opening renowned restaurants, you know?
Oh, yeah. That is, that's solid. I think what I'm looking for still, though, is getting that delicious crossover. It's close. You are correct.
You don't think that like leapfrogging contestant right into judge on Top Chef is like...
No, I want to see if people can get what is the EGOT for TV chefs? You know, like I want to see who can run the gamut, who can really bounce and collect the rings like Thanos, you know? I know that they were Infinity Gems.
No, it's just you just lost all of your nerd
yeah.
All that nerd
Stones,
goodwill.
actually, but okay.
Yeah. I don't know why I cackled like a demon.
That was the nerdiness leaving your body. You're a regular person.
Yeah. Let me go to the gym, bro.
Okay. Overall impressions of the finale. Do you guys have general thoughts? I have a couple thoughts. One of them is that the judging in this episode was like, I'm gonna say too complimentary. You know what I mean?
Well,
everything
it made
was
it like I think it was because it was just going for a long marathon that ended in one winner that I think made it hard. And I get it because since you have everyone's family there, it's kind of hard to be like, all right, for the first round, one is eliminated and then moving on from there.
Right.
I think you want it to be this big reveal so that you know, you don't want someone's family to have to sit there and watch two other people that they weren't there to root for. So that makes sense. But I think you're right. It's like, it just felt like like it was, which, like, I don't know, I had mixed feelings about, because I like that it's like, hey, making it this far, you are winners, we're just gonna see who gets the title and pushing forward. But I think you're right that from like a drama perspective, it made it hard to kind of follow who was like, I just didn't know who was gonna win at the end. You know?
Sure, it was way more, it felt more even, and they didn't change the music behind any of the
everything
judgments.
was inspirational, uplifting.
Yes. Even, and I kind of noticed some, you know, maybe it was just in my head, but like some edits where I feel like somebody might have had a but something after, but like it cut over it, you know. And of course they're always editing the comments to fit the narrative, and maybe I think they were just going for like, let's keep it positive. Sure, this didn't quite come together, but we're keeping it positive, and you did a great job, and the music is still at this level. So I do feel like I could kind of note, oh, interesting, the, you know, obviously the passion fruit sauce, or, you know, certain things came and felt like that's a negative, and then sometimes there are no negatives. But I, as a result, just didn't have it. Certainly felt more like a victory lap sort of finale, rather than like another episode of MasterChef.
Yes, we're here to like honor these three people, and also one of them will win, but that's sort of like immaterial to the fact that we're honoring these three people.
Yeah.
I do feel like, I mean, I guess we'll talk about this more in depth as we talk about the episodes, but I feel like every year there's at least one strong competitor who kind of chokes, where you're like, oh, I really thought they were going to win the whole season. And then they get to the end, they kind of fumble. And it made me realize, like, Becca explicitly said something like, I got all my nerves out after the appetizer round, and like people's hands are always shaking when they're plating. I'm like, I think the hardest part about the finale is just conquering your own nerves. I think people like build it up, and then they get there and they're like, oh, like, you know, you make a mistake just because you're nervous, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the lights, it's a kind of different setup because they're in that like in the round kind of situation. So they're probably a little discombobulated. Plus the excitement of like family being there, you know, or whoever supporters, like that's probably a little added pressure.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, let's start talking about the episodes. We start off with a big recap package of the whole season. And then we see everyone's families, like we said, but this is like my favorite part, is we never get introduced to the entire family. It's always like there's 6 people standing up there, and it's like, you brought your mom and your brother. And it's like, well, who are the 4 other people?
Right. Yeah. I was always like, did I miss it? Or maybe maybe I'm just, that's just like seat fillers.
There isn't enough time in the 2 hours to tell you who these people are.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's just kind of bouncing through. It's like, here you go. We're going to figure this out as we roll.
Here's the other weird thing that I clocked about who was in the room, is that they said, some of your former competitors are here to cheer you on. And they looked up at the balcony, and it was only like less than half of them. I was like, where's everyone else?
Yeah.
Was it only the last like 6 or 8 people eliminated? Like, I want to know. I didn't want to ask Kamei because it felt like a behind the scenes NDA kind of thing, but I'm like, where the fuck are all the first 10 people who got eliminated? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like that definitely felt like people were able to stay if they wanted to type energy, you know?
Sure. Oh, yeah. So. I assumed it's like maybe everybody else is like flew home. They're not going to pay to fly him back, you know? So it's like just the favorites of the recent memory, all
which is
in their
bummer.
biz cash.
Yeah. Everyone in their best like Easter Sunday, not like formal wear, you know, just like
right. Blazer, Mertz blazer over shirt.
Right. Yeah. Still a little bit in costume, but not full, you know. Yeah. I was bummed to not see Geegs up there, is what I'm saying. I really wanted.
Yeah, I don't think there was a world in which we were going to see that man up there.
I somehow didn't miss Geegs.
Geegs was he kept it pushing.
I wanted to know what he thought of everyone's dishes. Okay, let's talk about the appetizer round. Let's start with no. There's still some stuff in the intro. So they come out, we meet their families, and they each get their little package, a little video package. I'm going to start with Becca just because I think she's the one that I learned the most about in her package. I learned that she runs marathons. We knew she was a customer service manager, but she worked for a running event company. And then she brought her parents, John and Jennifer, and her husband, Joel. And I was like, oh, there's a little bit of like a Kardashian situation here going on with all the J names.
I did catch at some point. Oh, well, I guess this was when they're asking about prize money, but she did say, I'm looking to start a family. So I think she doesn't have the 3 children I thought she had.
Okay, yes. I wanted to bring this up. I'm like, did we Berenstain Bears that? What happened?
Yeah.
I think I heard it from a friend who was also watching MasterChef. And so it wasn't, I don't know where she got that information from. And I don't know if I misheard her, but definitely got lost in translation at some point. Because it sounds like it has no children yet.
I could have sworn that when we were doing the draft, and I'm very likely misremembering this, like we looked her up and someone like, I think Iffy found like a profile that looked like her holding 3 kids. And I was like,
yeah. So it must have been some cousins or something. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Could be. Yeah.
I would like to take this time to just apologize for spreading misinformation for the whole season. For like, I think 12 weeks now, we've been calling her a mom, and apparently she's not a mom.
That's true. We kind of have, but also with the caveat of like, we weren't sure because it wasn't on her, like it wasn't on her Instagram explicitly. Right. So we were kind of skeptical, but sure, do your own research. That's what you can't trust.
Yeah. You can't trust.
Don't listen to us.
Yeah.
Don't listen to us. You got to do your own research because we're going to lead you.
I think it was also reinforced by the fact that we're like, oh, she's from Utah. She's Mormon. She must have 1,000 kids, which is horrificaally stereotypical of us.
Yeah. I was in Provo. I'll stand on it.
Sure.
I'll stand on it every time.
I mean, I think for sure it would have been like even more astonishing if she weren't Mormon.
Yeah.
But as she is, it's sort of like, well, I don't know. Maybe that is what's happening.
Yeah.
I plead the 5th.
Yeah.
So that's what we learned about Becca. Speaking of the law, Kamei, I think she got like the inspirational package. She's just like, here's my dad and my wife. We still haven't taken our honeymoon.
I know. Yeah.
Her bags are packed.
Yeah.
She's ready to hit the airport right away.
Wife is like, I need you to win this so we can, upgrade to first class.
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh, that would be nice. Yeah.
But yeah, she just got the edit that's like, I want to do this for Haiti, which for the record, I did count as a half point, saying,
yes,
we have a half point for I'm doing this for my parents, my family, my partner, whatever. She said I'm doing it for a whole country. I'm like, that's easily a half point.
Yeah, it should have been double one, really, a whole country. That's
a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, wow.
But yeah, so she's cooking for Haiti. And then Michael, the fun fact that I learned during his package, he owns an irrigation business, which we didn't know prior to the finale.
Yeah.
He was always just listed as a business owner. We never knew what kind of business. Irrigation, which I could not think of a more random. It's like Mad Libs. You could have put in any word there. Irrigation.
And then it would just be like, okay, irrigation.
Yeah, people need watering.
He also in his package said, I'm doing this for her in reference to his mom. So that's a half point for saying I'm going to do this for someone, and an extra half point because that person is dead. So that is one full point for Michael there.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on this at the end of the last episode when Michael made it into the finale, but I'm like, Michael was my dark horse. I really didn't think and he kind of talks about in his package where he's like, I started out kind of quiet and then like I pushed myself with every dish, but I'm like, that he's a real example of like, he rode the middle up until the end. Do you know what I mean? And then he pulled ahead.
But in this one, I'm just kind of like, rock on, because usually when we were talked about people riding the middle, it's been like right in the middle, and then they're kind of just still middling towards the end. But he turned up and like stood out. Like I said, he was getting all the attention when he was like, "Hey, I'm the guy."
I also love that every time they had like previews or, you're watching MasterChef or whatever of all the like chaotic moments throughout the season. His is always the like, Horacio, shut up, Horacio, shut up. And it's like because he is the quietest.
Yeah.
He is a quiet person. So he's self-identified. And then for that to be like repeated, like, I wonder how he feels about that. Cause it's just the funniest moment.
I feel like if you're a reality TV editor, that's like gold. Cause it's the kind of clip where it's like, someone in the next room who's not watching the show is going to laugh at that. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just because you get it. Horacio was loud and he was trying to get shot over the wall.
Like, I feel like
Anyway.
there's one Real Housewives clip that they use a lot in commercials, which is you're a stupid person who says stupid things. And I'm like, that is the funniest out of context clip. I understand why it's in every commercial. It's
Right.
so good.
You don't have to know a thing about him, but
Yeah.
it is funny.
Yeah. All right. Now let's talk about the appetizer round. All of them looked so good. Okay, I'll say all the plates that got put out tonight looked so good. I think I would. Okay, if you guys had to pick one of the menus to order, whose would you pick?
Ooh. Look, I'm not gonna say it just because I'm biased. I'm saying it because I mean it. Kamei
Okay. Yeah.
had some slay, you know. Let's try that one out. Kamei has some slay.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like, oh man, I wish I could pick from each course, but I do think I think I really am curious about Kamei's menu the most because she had obviously, she had some things that the judges didn't think came together or whatever, but like I think hers was the one where I'm like, oh, but I want to try that. It looks like something I haven't had before and I couldn't imagine what it tastes like, so I want to try it.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about Kamei. So she started off, her appetizer was the habanero spicy squash soup with a poached lobster tail, pickled rainbow chard, and caviar. Again, we've always harped on her ability to just like be a natural on camera, but she gave us a little mini Haitian history lesson, talked about how this is a sign of commemoration for the Haitian people. And I'm like, this is great. It's I feel like this is what wins you Top Chef, is like having a good narrative to go with your food.
Yes. Oh yeah. And that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. Top Chef ready. If you're not supporting, please consider. But we talk about, post show ambitions, and Kamei is also just slaying in her current career, so there's no reason to make the jump. But Kamei would have been my pick, who can do the, ring acquirement to go on from MasterChef.
Oh, he's doubling down.
Get that Top Chef. Oh yeah, I'm gonna find the acronym sound for it, but I'm gonna be because right now it's trademark TM, Top Chef, MasterChef. But maybe we'll add some chopped. Yep. Takum.
Beating Bobby Flay.
Beat him. Okay, well, beating Bobby Flay, I don't know. You have to do that thing.
Yeah, I also think that this is where we get a lot of Kamei's personality. This is where we get the moment where it's like she dropped the garlic and Mert shouts down to Becca. He's like, Kamei's trying to sabotage you. It's like this fun moment of levity. Kamei has this bit where Becca's dad is being supportive of Becca, and Kamei says, Dad, can you take notes from Becca's dad and tell me that you love me every 2 minutes? It's amazing.
Oh yeah, lots of good like roast and stingers.
Yeah,
I know. It's like you're cooking at the same time too. How can you also be knowing you're doing crowd work? Honestly.
Yeah.
Solid.
The judges, their big worry with Kamei's dish was that the spiny lobster could be tough and rubbery because spiny lobster cooks a little bit different from regular lobster. But Kamei was confident. And that was the big drama going into a commercial break, is like, will it be overcooked? And then they came back. It's like, no, it was great. Everyone loved her dish.
Yeah, I think Horacio in the stands or whatever was like, that doesn't look good.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or something.
Which is, again, with all due respect to Horacio, I'm like, if he's worried about it, I'm like, I'm not worried about it. You know what I mean? I think it'll be fine. Okay. To answer my own question, I as much as I hate to admit it, I think I would have picked Michael's menu tonight. It's the one that appealed to me the most. And
so I gotta say that dessert looked so gorgeous. I know.
I like the dessert, but
his appetizer was gorgeous to me. It was plated so nicely. The like circle and the green. It was like,
with the leaves.
Yeah.
Gordon did say this is Gordon's reaction to that was like, whoa, I don't think I've seen Gordon react so authentically to something so positively. I don't know if I'm just interpreting it that way, but he was like, he kind of was saying something and he was like, oh, this is so bloody great.
Yeah.
Oh, we got the bloody great.
If you get a British person to say bloody, they mean business. Okay, so Michael made truffle tortellini, brown butter, mint and pea puree. The pea puree looks beautiful, just like the perfect shade of green, asparagus mushrooms, preserved lemon vinaigrette. Val, our producer Val, in her notes put that Joe touched Michael's pasta dough with his bare hands, which I didn't even clock. And then he does it again later in the episode with someone else. I'm like, why is Joe going around poking his fingers in everyone's food?
That's a hazard.
Anyway, okay. So Michael, he talks about his mom. He can only get 1 point for the whole episode. It's not like he gets a point every time he says it. But he talks about his mom, but also talks about how this was like, pasta was like the first technical thing he learned how to make. That's how he got his apron. So that's why he's making it. This was his first time being excited for tasting. He put the plate down. He was actually like, okay, I'm really into this. And the judges said it showed technical flair. It looked good. Like I said, it's to talk about what they said about every dish is going to be boring because every dish they're just like, this is good.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Gordon recommended maybe dialing back on the truffle a little. Joe said he would have left off the vinaigrette, but otherwise people liked it.
Too much truffle is a funny criticism.
Yeah.
But also I do think Kamei had a quip about how like he was just doing pasta again, even though he did it for his audition, which was pretty funny.
Another thing I didn't want to bring up in the interview with Kamei, but yeah, it was I think the like the cattiest, is that what I'm trying to say? Like the most throw under the busty thing I've ever heard Kamei say, of just like, some people here are doing the same thing they did when they got in the kitchen. I'm trying to be different. And I was like, okay. I see you.
I like, now that we've interviewed her, and like, I know the edit is always going to kind of go for, okay, Kamei is our lawyer, who is a little like, she's going to be more competitive or whatever. Like, I did feel like maybe it could have been a response to something, or like maybe he said something, you know what I mean? Like I could see it as being more of like a clap back, and then like, it just comes out as like, whoa, she just said this randomly. And Michael's like innocently in the corner, like, what, who's throwing shade at me? But yeah, I think it was, I wonder what the full context, but it was funny too. Cause it was sort of like oh yeah, I guess we're all in competition, even though this is a bit of a love fest.
Right. We all love each other, but respectfully, I'm going to beat your ass.
I love it.
Okay, let's talk about Becca's appetizer. The crispy skin salmon, braised leeks, tomato water, basil oil, crispy fried basil, an homage to her mom, who always made salmon. We already talked about Becca's dad. The judges thought that maybe this dish would be a little bit simple. And when they tasted it, Joe... Oh, no, I have that wrong. We'll take that back. Sorry. Becca at first didn't have the crispy skin that she wanted, so she had to start over, which is one of her Great British Bake Off rules. Were this to be Great British Bake Off, she would have gotten a half point there. But yeah, she had to cook her salmon twice, and that I feel like was maybe one of the biggest bits of drama in this chunk of the show. Very scary moment. Oh, this is the other moment where Val noted, Joe picks up Becca's salmon with his bare, unwashed hand. Are you kidding me?
Oh no.
Well, yeah, no, it's just so funny, like, for the drama that happened in this episode being like resolved well, like it's like, this was just like, I don't know if it was the editing wanting it to feel like, oh, this is like the best of the best, so everyone's the best, or if it was just like, no, everyone was just crushing it. I mean, I believe either one could be true.
I think it's a little bit of both, where it's like, if you've made it this far, that means you're really, really good, right? There isn't going to be a fiasco, or at least not one that you can't fix.
Yeah.
And
but
this
also,
is...
I was just saying, but also the edit kind of dials up the drama. What were you going to say?
Or just that this is the finale where they can make whatever they want. So they're a little more equipped to,
That is true. Very good point. Yeah.
Yeah, they're coming in prepared. They practice these dishes over and over again, presumably.
They said, we ain't playing around.
Yeah.
We ain't playing around anytime.
I did write one small note, because when they're judging, Gordon says, did you get to try this fish before you plated it? And Becca says, no, I didn't. And then they cut to two girls in the audience going, just disapprovingly shaking their heads. Like, you don't know any better.
Yeah. If I can have any note for the editing and production side, is get some like have a moment with that audience where you're having different reactions, because sometimes it would be like a funny ass joke that Kamei would say, and then it would just cut to clapping. I was like, you didn't have any laughs, from the audience.
So
like that's not the reaction to a funny, like especially when it was like when it was or like when it was like the like slight jab at Mike, where it was like some people made what they made for the audition. I make and something different, and then it went to everyone go. It's like no, we need some like ooh.
Yeah, you want the Jerry Springer response.
Yeah, they have to get like a list of all the different reactions and just go run through them after.
Yeah.
After
okay,
production.
give us a big gasp. Yeah. Okay, now everyone look really sad. Now everyone look really excited.
Oh, that was good.
Okay, let's move on to the entree round. Let's keep talking about Becca. So she did the herb crusted lamb, brown butter spetzel, bitter greens, balsamic fig reduction. This is the one that Gordon thinks is the trickiest protein because the lamb is susceptible to overcooking. And sure enough, she kind of overcooks it.
Yeah.
Lamb loin.
Yeah. Adam is the one who, at least for the audience at home, kind of points it out, where he's up on the balcony and he's like, oh boy, Becca's lamb has been in the oven for a while, which I'm always going to say justice for Adam. Yeah, exactly.
That Dude Ranch schooling.
Yeah.
Becca said they're going to be spectacular. Look, I love a good pun. I really fell for that one. I love it. Spectacular. Come on. Okay. This is the part of the show where Aaron Sanchez says about Becca's husband, that guy should be on the cover of Utah Monthly, which I think he meant as not a compliment. It's a little bit like, that guy looks so Mormon, he could be the poster child for Mormons. Do you know what I mean?
No, oh my God, that's so funny. I mean, yeah, that was a weird moment because first he was like, that's your husband, yeah, that's a good looking man, he should be on. Yeah, and then it's just kind of funny. It was like, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's like the compliment version would be like, that guy belongs on the cover of GQ. But if you say Utah Monthly, it's a little bit like, I know what you're really trying to say.
Yeah, he could probably make it on that cover.
Yeah.
It's a little smaller of a, pool of people to choose from, I suppose.
Yeah. He's the best that Utah has to
print.
offer. Yeah. Okay. The weird thing I wrote about the judging here is that Joe said he's like, I don't know how I feel about this sauce. I like it, but I don't know if I want it on my lamb or on my pancakes. And I was like,
yeah.
Right.
That feels like a huge negative. The fact that we're trying to couch this as a positive, I'm like, I don't know why. You know what I mean?
Right. Then that doesn't mean syrup. Like it's like maple syrup because that's pretty intense.
Yeah, I couldn't really tell. It's a balsamic fig reduction, but I'm like,
I didn't know what this man meant by that, but at this point, I'm like, I don't know what this man be talking about sometimes. I'm gonna just
Joe's thing.
Yeah. He's just going around touching things.
Putting his fingers in your food and then complaining.
Going around,
lost his goddamn mind.
Okay, let's talk about Kamei with the pan-seared striped bass and the infamous passion fruit sauce and some baby squash, sweet potato croquette, some avocado mousse. We talked to Kamei a little bit about the passion fruit sauce. I want to hear your guys' reaction first to hearing about the passion fruit sauce and then to the judges tasting the passion fruit sauce.
I mean, I was excited because I love passion fruit flavored things, I suppose, and passion fruit.
Yeah, same.
So I thought like it would be, kind of similar to other, fruit, I guess, fruit forward sauces paired with things, or having fruit on the plate with your protein. But at the same time, I guess I like the fish, maybe with that, I was like, okay, well, that's a little different maybe that I maybe would expect like with a pork or something, a pork chopper. But I was excited. And that is part of the reason why I want to taste her menu, because I do actually want to taste that sauce. But yeah, I don't know. I guess they were all like worried, oh, it's super sour, is it going to go well? And then ultimately they didn't think so. So, it could have been overpowering, I guess.
Yeah.
Iffy, what about you? What was your feeling on the passion fruit sauce?
I felt like it was something that could have been, I stand before you, a man who is munching up on some Coke Oreos and sipping on some Oreo Coke. And I was like, I think this could have been a banger, and I can't trust their tongues. So I was, when I heard those comments, I was like, we'll see. We'll see.
Right.
Hopefully when I go to DC, I'll be able to taste the sauce.
Yeah.
If they had primed their palate with some Oreo Cokes,
that would have changed everything.
Really taste that passion fruit.
They should have a little appetizer plate just at the judges table of like junk food, like, Mountain Dew Code Red and Doritos, just to really get the palate ready for what's about to come.
Yeah.
I agree, Sierra. I love passion fruit. I'm curious about the sauce. I'm curious if it was specifically a savory sauce, like if it was, salty or umami or whatever, or if it's like, if I poured it over ice cream, would I love it even more? Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting. But maybe you're right. It could have been dialed down to more of a savory situation.
I mean, it is in our interview that we just did. Kamei said it's like she doesn't make it a lot because it takes 45 minutes to make, and so I'm like, okay, well then it's probably more than just passion fruit and sugar or whatever. There's got to be something going on in there. So I'm curious more than anything. Also, not the point I thought would be the point of contention on her plate, because she had a little bit of drama with her sweet potato croquette. She couldn't scoop it out. They were like, it's going to be too starchy. It's going to fall apart. But everyone said it was great. So she overcame that and then just put the passion fruit sauce on top of it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Michael with his herb-crusted rack of venison, duck fat, onion and butternut squash puree, Swiss chard, blackberry wine sauce. This is what I mean, man. Venison and duck fat. I'm like, you're going to get me with that. I really want that. Wow. Yeah.
It looked a bit like, I think for me, I'm like, ooh, that's like a lot. You know what I mean? And I know Joe had the criticism of the crust to meat ratio.
Yeah. I haven't really had any venison that I've gone crazy for yet. So that's the only thing that I'm like, well,
you touched on Joe's criticism. I do want to talk about that because it's this was Joe's comment where he's like, it's a little he likes the primalness of it. He did like this little caveman bit, and then speaking of reaction shots, they cut to Gordon Ramsay giving his look of like, what are you talking about? Like, I think even Gordon Ramsay, the king of like good television, was like, this is a little cheese ball. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Get your shit together, man.
Yeah, Joe's whole thing was just like, this is a lot of meat, which is like, sure, not really, I would consider a criticism of cookery, but sure.
It was minimal. Like, it did seem like, as far as, again, as far as those dishes went, it was the least criticism.
Yeah. And the big drama here was that Gordon said that Michael is maybe falling a little bit behind because the venison didn't have time to rest. It was in the oven a little longer, but it all ended up being fine. Everyone liked the dish.
In the end, it all was good.
Okay, so we do a little mini recap at the end of the entree round, where they talk about the menus so far. They say the Kamei's menu, good so far, just that passion fruit sauce. Becca's menu, overcooked lamb. Michael, no mistakes so far. And this is the point where I was like, I think Michael's going to win. Because both Kamei and Becca had made technical errors. And I was like, I think Michael's going to win,
Unless he, totally botched the dessert, I suppose.
Right. And everyone talked about that Becca is like the queen of desserts, and she was the favorite going into the third round. But as we'll learn, she very quickly ran into trouble. We can just talk about that now. So she made a berry tart, and it didn't bake. Her oven was too low. She had to crank up the heat and then pray that the blast chiller could do its thing so that nothing would melt on top. And then she also overcooled her berry mousse, and it separated, it split. It's like, this was the one where I'm like, this is probably the hardest one to say nice things about, because we saw the technical errors. You know what I mean? It's like the crust probably isn't fully baked and the mousse is broken. So how good could it be?
Yeah. The mousse, that was a bit tough. I mean, it looked beautiful, and I'm sure it would have looked even better as perfect.
If executed properly, perfect. I'm sure it would have been great.
But yeah, I think like when Gordon was saying like the mousse texture was off because it got broken, it's like, oh, but mousse is all about texture. So you're kind of really missing the main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing is mousse. If you don't get the mousse, it becomes the caboose, as they say in the culinary world.
It's like, I feel like you like spend minutes in silence trying to crank on like a good t-shirt slogan. And then when you get one out, you're like, here it is. I got it.
Look, it's what makes this, a perfect dish. This podcast is, y'all have great insight. Mike is hitting all the notes. Sierra, really good, thoughts and insights. And me, I got a t-shirt slogan to go with it all.
Perfect. Dream trio. Yeah. I mean, I did like when they talked to Warren. I think they asked Warren like which dessert.
Yes. Yeah.
And he was like, I gotta go for the berries. You know what I mean?
Actually, like, what he said was, I gotta go for the berries.
He did say berry. Yeah, he said berry, which I guess is berries in Warren's world.
Yeah, it's the most New Jersey pronunciation of berry.
Amazing.
Berry.
And he and I get that too, because I mean I love a berry anything. So I think to me maybe that would have been my favorite if it had come out perfectly.
Yeah.
My t-shirt is, I want to say like Burry Tart. You know what I mean? Boo-berry.
Oh, get it out before Halloween. Hurry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is actually, I mean, I love berries on their own, but this is the dessert that appealed to me the least. And not because of the technical layers. The other two sounded so good to me. Kamei's was the guava rum strawberry shortcake with the tarragon creme diplomat. Anything guava, I'm like, you got my number. The passion fruit, the guava, I'm like, I'm in. I'm sold.
Yeah, I love it.
Sorry, this is the one where the judges were like, is it too simple? Is this a finale worthy dessert?
Right.
During judging, Joe was like, it is simple, but it's very good. If it's simple, it needs to be perfectly executed, and this is perfectly executed. So no real drama there.
Yeah, I mean, I do love, as much as I love berries, I love a guava as well. Though I will say the strawberries, and this is a personal thing, I don't love strawberries.
Whoa.
I think it's because also eat them, but I think it's because when I was little, I threw up strawberries. You know, that happens.
So you're bringing personal
stuff. You know, it's sort of that, biased situation. So never put me in charge of judging strawberry, or if I'm judging a dish, don't make me strawberries. Kind of like okra.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Have we talked about Harry's berries on this podcast?
I don't think so.
Okay. Have you had a Harry's berry?
No, I think I remember hearing because Stone Cold Steve Austin kind of had like he did an ad for him, right?
I don't know, but that's amazing if that's true.
Yeah, either that or I heard some comedian do a sketch where for his podcast he did an ad for Harry's berries.
That sounds more likely. So Harry's berries are here's the headline. They're expensive. These are like the berries when people read about that. Like if you live not in California and you read about like, what's Erewhon? And then you read about Erewhon, you're like, $30 for strawberries. That's crazy. You're right. You're not wrong. I'm not going to deny that. They are expensive. They are worth every penny. I've never had a favorite farmer in my life. The Harry's Berries people are my favorite farmers in the world. They make the best strawberries you've ever had. They're worth every penny. It's like picture
what's going on.
The most platonic ideal of a strawberry you could possibly picture in your head. That's what it tastes like every time.
What are they doing? What are they putting in their ground?
I think it's literally like a what's the word? Like a cultivar that they invented. You know what I mean? It's like their own species of strawberry, and they just they got it right. It's like this is how I feel about Honeycrisp apples. I'm like, we don't need to make more apples. We got it right. The Honeycrisp is the platonic ideal of what an apple is supposed to taste like. We can stop now.
Right. No more innovating.
Harry's Berries, like whatever strawberry they invented, that's it. That's the strawberry. We're good now.
Amazing.
Anyway, so I love strawberries, and I mean, we're a little late in the summer now, so I don't know if you can get them now, or maybe the price will just go up a little bit. But like, if you can get a hold of Harry's Berries, I think it's going to change your mind about strawberries.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Pulling me back in.
Yeah. Just when I thought I was out, Harry's Berries pulled me back in.
Let's see. Kamei had Kimberly rooting for her, I think just because of the tarragon, because we know that Kimberly is a farmer or a gardener. Farmer. What's the difference? At what point does a garden become a farm?
Kimberly might know. She was sweet. She sweetly wrote us, right?
Yes. Yeah. Kimberly just sent us a nice little message, just to let us a note of encouragement and to say thank you. And we love you, Kimberly, if you're listening to this episode. Thank you so much for listening.
Big fan. And when does a gardener become a farmer?
Please. Yes. At what square footage? Yeah. Because that's the only difference, right? It's just like after a certain size, your garden is, but I don't know. Like a botanical garden.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, animals. Well, what if you're only like an orange farmer? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have any cattle.
Yeah. That's true. That's okay.
That's okay. We'll give that a pass.
Yeah, you're fine.
Lawrence oranges, they ain't got no Lawrence oranges out there.
If your farmer name rhymes, I'm buying your produce.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Anna's bananas, I'm in.
Yeah. Do you think Harry was born Harry?
I don't.
Or did he change it for the berry?
That's true. I'm gonna look it up. Like we got to get down to Harry's berries.
You think he like his name was Robert and he's like, I'm gonna grow berries. I'm gonna legally change my name to Harry.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Okay. All right. We'll look into it. We'll have our research department put in some time. We'll find out. Let's talk about Michael's dessert. A deconstructed peach cobbler, white chocolate pound cake, buttermilk ice cream, passion fruit zabaione, streusel crumble, passion fruit syrup, brown sugar grilled peaches. I'm naming all of these ingredients because this was the judge's big thing, is that that's a shit ton of components in one dish.
Yeah, he really went for it. It looked gorgeous, though. I mean, I love those little blue, like blue purple,
the flowers,
periwinkle flowers on top of that orange peach color. It was just stunning.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the judges say that it all works. That was the big dramatic commercial lead up thing, was, does it all work together? The answer is a resounding yes. Gordon throws in a little, I'm just sorry that mom's not here to taste it, which is a real tug at the heartstrings.
Oh yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
He went in with that liquid nitrogen, and we were watching that like, wow, he knows how to do that. Like that seems pretty advanced, right? And also, not a lot of ways to practice if you're not a professional.
That's
chef.
true.
So
yeah,
the fact that he was able to pull that off, but also like knew how to do it in the first place was pretty good.
Yeah, the liquid nitrogen that I wrote is in a comically labeled thermos. It was like clearly they just bought like a thermos and then took stickers in the font of the Always Sunny in Philadelphia font and just like wrote liquid nitrogen on it. And I was like, they don't do that on Top Chef. We know what's in there. Have we ever talked about liquid nitrogen ice cream on this podcast?
No.
Okay, because I have strong feelings.
What's the story here?
Oh, you have a story?
No, I said, what's the story here?
Just that I don't like it. I think I think that it's like it's too cold too fast. Do you know what I mean? Like when you eat liquid nitrogen ice cream, all I can taste is cold.
Oh, interesting. It gets kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Would you do like Dippin' Dots?
I feel like I did when I was a kid, and now when I eat them, I'm like, this doesn't taste as good as regular ice cream because I just get cold. Like I'm sure that a scientist could explain it to me. Like the ice crystals are bigger when you freeze it faster or something. You know what I mean? But I'm just like, you lose flavor. You get way less flavor than if you just like make ice cream the slow churn, which I know you can't do in a competition setting, but it's like, you got to give it time to develop that flavor,
Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting. I would say it's probably not good for flavor, but it's kind of nice for the novelty of like the different texture. So if you're a texture guy, which I think I can be, because I love a good banana split Dippin' Dots. Only that one though. The others I'm not as into. The other flavors, because you're just getting basically bits of every flavor. But anyway,
you're getting little tiny shots of flavor.
Yeah, and like the flavor itself is not the best because it's obviously a pretty artificial. But I think all the experience, including the texture and that cold, is kind of fun.
So, do you like the rolled ice cream? You know what I'm talking about? I feel like we're both Asian. We've both been to like Koreatown and seen the rolled ice cream.
I've done. Yeah, I remember when that was really big, and I think the first few times I was like, this is not worth it because it was kind of expensive. And then they're like, it takes a while. It just seems like it's a lot of work for them. And then it's like, okay, thanks. I think for me, I'm like, I would go all the way to Dippin' Dots or just regular ice cream. I don't need this kind of in between like sheets in a tube. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Ify, do you have feelings about liquid nitrogen ice cream?
Yeah, man. Like I feel like I'm kind of in the same boat as Sierra, just kind of just getting a little just like, sometimes it's what hits the spot, but for the most part, it's like whatever. Like I'm not, it's definitely not like I'm gonna run out. I'm not gonna run out and grab one.
I get it. I think we have talked about this on this podcast. Did you know that Dippin' Dots doesn't make any of their money off their ice cream?
Oh, right. We did discuss that.
Yeah. Pharmaceuticals. They use that technology to just like freeze medicine, and it makes them all their money. Anyway.
Mind blowing.
You learn something new every day. Okay, let's go on to the judging now. The summaries are that Becca's menu was well balanced. The appetizer was a good idea, but she didn't have the chops to pull off the tomato water. The lamb in her entree was a little medium. and the consistency of the mousse on her dessert was way off. So pretty immediately I was like, Becca can't win. Although, given that half the community on the MasterChef subreddit thinks that she gets preferential treatment, I was like, there's a chance she might win. In which case, we'll know it's rigged. But I was like, I don't think she deserved to win. But if she did win, I wouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, this was the one that made me think about Mert's comment a little bit, because there were some times where I was like, it's showing a little bit too much love.
Yeah. Yeah, really grading on a curve here. But I like we talked about, I think that was also just a factor of like everyone is positive, everything is good. You know what I mean? You made it this far. We're just gonna nothing but praise in this episode, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, Kamei's menu played to her strengths. The appetizer, great soup, great lobster. Entree, everything was good except for that passion fruit sauce. And the dessert really worked. It was her on a plate. Everyone was really happy. So really the only knock against Kamei was the passion fruit sauce. And then they talk about Michael's menu. They tried to nitpick, but there wasn't really a lot. They're like, oh, maybe too much truffle in the appetizer and too much venison on the venison. And the Joe said the dessert, he was like, Michael had a divine hand helping him because of his mom. So it's just like, okay, they love that menu. It was pretty obvious from the get-go that I think Michael was going to do it. We already talked about Becca saying she wants to plan for a family. Sorry, Becca, that we insinuated you had kids for the last 10 weeks or whatever. And we declare our winner, who was Michael. Michael is our next MasterChef. Reactions to this. Tell me how you feel about this.
I mean, I really, it kind of, got me emotional because did he say he lost his mom like a year ago or something, right?
It was not long ago.
Yeah, it was very recent. So that's really tough. She was also like, sick. So I'm sure that was a much longer time to deal with. And so that was, and then seeing his sister there and his dad, it was like cute that they were also crying because it's all mixed in. And then he was just fully in shock, which was kind of funny. I think he had like a shocked face when
I was shocked. Yeah,
he was like, it like hadn't really hit him yet. And we know he's obviously a big Gordon fan because he was excited when he talked to him before. So like Gordon like grabbed his face or something at some point, and that was cute. And but yeah, I think ultimately, like I again totally probably thought he wouldn't even make it to the final. When he did, it was like, oh wow, but he's probably not the favorite to win. It's probably going to be Kamei or Becca since they've been so strong throughout the season consistently. And I guess seeing him really shine, I think this was probably his best showing the whole season.
Yeah.
And it couldn't have been better timing because it won him the title.
Yeah, this was what we call the definition of being locked in.
Yeah. You said it up top, but I really think he just put his head down. He was laser focused, and nothing really shook him from that. Which again is like, I think if you ignore your nerves, you're going to be fine in the finale. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Somehow he did thrive under that pressure. That seemed to kind of break Becca at least a bit.
Yeah. I tried to do a Where Are They Now, but as of time of recording, this just aired last night, and it is 3 p.m. the next day. So most of these contestants haven't posted that much about it. There's no like Becca posted one little sort of reflection post, but it was mostly just like, thanks to everyone. I love being on the show. Like no real insight. So I'd love to say I know where they are now, but I don't, except for Kamei, because we just talked to her. And again, you can listen to that at MaximumFun.org/join. So let's do our points breakdown. Once again, you can find our scoring rules on our Instagram at TV Chef Fantasy League. In this episode, Kamei, Michael, and Becca made it to the finale. That is 2 points apiece. America's Next MasterChef is Michael. That's 3 points. Michael is doing it for his dead mom. That's a half point and a half point. And Kamei is doing it for Haiti. That is a half point. So at the end of this week, Iffy, you gain 2.5 points. Respectable. Yes. I gained 0 points. I have no one in the finale.
Yeah.
Sierra, you gained 8 points.
Whoa.
So at the end of the season, here is what our scoreboard looks like. I finished the season in last place with 16 points. Iffy, right in the middle, with 18 points. You did beat me. Congratulations. You leapfrogged me.
Not last.
Not last. Sierra, 31 points. That is almost me and Iffy combined.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, it again, it was a big surprise with Michael that he ended up really being kind of a points monger there.
Yeah. Be honest. When you picked him at the beginning of the season, did you think he would make it this far?
Definitely not. I picked like Anna first, and like she was a strong one, obviously to begin with, but was one of my earliest people to get knocked out. So it really kind of flipped things on me, I think, here with Michael being, a top choice, but I don't think he was definitely not before some of the others. So yeah, I mean, and then even Becca too, like she was one of my top choices too, and she made it to the final as was strong throughout. But like the fact that he beat her is pretty big too. So yeah, felt like I got lucky like Michael did in the finale.
Yes.
Well, I don't want to take away from his skill. He was very skilled.
No, yes.
And I think that Kamei and
right.
Becca both just had like kind of a bad day. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. No, I think gosh, all the things that he brought out, it was like, looked delicious. Obviously, he's an extremely talented chef, far beyond just a home chef now. So
yeah,
can't wait to see what else I saw it. So his Instagram like handle is actually called Flavor Perfection. So it's specifically, it's not just his name, you know what I mean? Like it's specifically a
that's
kitchen,
devotion to the craft,
kitchen cooking category on Instagram. Yeah. So we'll look out for his probably upcoming cookbook and
that's usually
podcast.
What happens. Yeah. I feel like if I were a better host, I would have looked up like all of the winners and what they've done up to this point. But I know that most of them go the route of like a cookbook and then some pop-ups. And I think there's like a MasterChef cruise and they always end up cooking on that. You know what I mean? Yeah. We got to go to the MasterChef.
Good balance. Cruise. Oh, definitely.
Sierra, do you know where we are taking you out to dinner as champion for?
I should have decided in between. I mean, let's I'll make a decision soon. Maybe we'll try to figure out something convenient if we do, because we still haven't done the Top Chef.
That's right. Yeah, we owe you 2 dinners.
We can figure out how to, combine or something that is complementary.
That sounds great. And when we have our winner's dinner, we will record that. We'll have a nice little conversation, and that'll go up as bonus content. So once again, if you'd like to contribute to our show because you like it so much, you can head to MaximumFun.org/join. You can become a member for as little as $5 a month, and we would really appreciate it. And you get access to bonus content like our interview with Kamei and our winners' dinners. We want to hear your reactions to the finale. So give us a DM at TV Chef Fantasy League on Instagram, or you can email us chef@MaximumFun.org. And now we're moving on to Great British Bake Off, which starts now. So I think we'll probably start releasing episodes
we're deep
on
in it
day. Yeah. So I'm really excited. How are you guys feeling about Great British Bake Off?
So pumped.
I'm feeling pretty good. I was last. Now I'm second. So
you're crawling your way up to the top.
Naturally, I have to pull it out this time.
Yeah.
Naturally.
And based on the team that we just did our draft the other night, which I think should be out by the time you listen to this episode. Based on the team you drafted, I think you got pretty good odds.
Yeah, it's a wild it can go any way. Because that's the thing about, the Great British Baking Show, right? Is that there isn't necessarily like, I say this at the top of the draft, but we've incrementally went further and further from being able to determine how well someone does based on information. And this is a thing where we're kind of just shooting from the hip here off of vibes. Yeah. And that, I think, in turn is going to make it a little bit more fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Great British Bake Off is definitely a lot more of like it's anyone's game, because anyone could just have like a bad baking day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Baking. And I mean, even from this MasterChef finale, like seeing them do desserts, it was kind of like a nice little like preview of things to come.
A nice, easy transition.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening to MasterChef Generations. We'll start on Great British Bake Off next week. Thank you to my co-hosts here, Kato and Iffy Wadiway. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
TV Chef Fantasy League is a Maximum Fun production. Our producer is Valerie Moffat. Our theme song is by Dylan Van Auken. Follow us on Instagram and YouTube at TV Chef Fantasy League.